Specific to exercise, I have a two-part question. How can wearing the glucose monitor help people to understand their response to exercise? And then the second part of that would be what type of exercise have you found proves the most effective in combating elevated levels of glucose?
Yeah. Well, if you look at the literature, basically any movement of the body is going to be positive for metabolic health. And that can include very gentle stuff like walking, zone two exercise, which is that more low grade cardio activity, which is really helpful for mitochondrial biogenesis, literally printing more mitochondria. And more mitochondria means more glucose processing. So that's good. High intensity interval training is really good at improving insulin sensitivity. So that's like really intense spurts. And then power, like weightlifting, resistance training, because that's going to build actually like muscle hypertrophy and build more muscle cells that have more mitochondria and become a big giant glucose sponge in your body, both at baseline, but also when you work out. So the average American is not getting even remotely enough movement throughout the day. So I would just say, big picture, whichever of those feel good to you, do it. Just do more of it. Exercise is one of the best things we can do for our metabolic health. If you can do a little bit of all of that, that's also great. But basically, all types of exercise are positive. To zoom in a little bit more specifically, one of the things we've seen that is profound is that walking or doing light cardio after a meal can greatly reduce the glucose spike. And that's been shown in many studies. We've also shown it in our levels population. So if there's one sort of simple habit that I think can really be so transformative for metabolic health, it's just commit to taking a walk around the block yourself, with your family, with whoever, after a meal. It could be right after the meal. It could be 15 minutes after a meal. Just use those muscles after you eat, because it will just pull the glucose out of the bloodstream and use it to fuel the muscles. And so that's fantastic. In our levels data set, we actually saw that when people take a short walk after a meal, they tend to have almost 30% lower glucose peak compared to eating the same meal without a walk. So over the course of a lifetime, that's a lot. That's a lot of glucose, lesser glucose spike. One other thing I'll say, and I have to shout out my good friend, Dr. Gabrielle Lyon, who just came out with the amazing book, Forever Strong, which is the tour de force. I know she's been on your podcast and it's being released, I think, tomorrow. But that book I can't recommend highly enough, especially for women, because we are living in a culture where resistance training has really not been emphasized for women. And I really think of muscle as this metabolic armor on the body. It's a glucose sink. It releases hormones that are good for metabolic health, myokines. It is on so many levels critical for metabolic health. And because women haven't traditionally been encouraged to lift weight, and our muscle mass naturally starts declining after age 35, we're really missing out on this incredible tool in our body to basically regulate our mitochondrial function and metabolic health. So for any woman listening who's not actively lifting heavy weights several times a week, start now, start today. Go to a gym, find a trainer, go on YouTube, find a program online, especially after menopause when our metabolic health takes a huge hit because our estrogen declines. We have to be actively building muscle. And I talk to a dozen levels members a week, and I ask every woman if they're resistance training, and the vast majority say no. And they're not getting the health results they want. They're gaining weight over time. Their blood sugar's creeping up. And so that is as close to a magic bullet as we can get. So that's my public service announcement of the day for both men and women, but especially women.